Today's most iconic casino game, Blackjack, wasn't born under neon lights or in mob-run casinos. Its story begins centuries ago, whispered in monasteries and noble courts before crossing oceans to shape gambling empires. From monks shuffling primitive decks to mafia bosses skimming millions, Blackjack's hidden past is a saga of faith, fortune, and crime. Let's uncover how this simple card game became a battlefield of power. Blackjack traces back to medieval Europe, where monks and scholars played early forms of 21 in Spain and 21 in France. Though gambling was frowned upon, these card games quietly spread, blending math, probability, and the idea of divine luck. Inside monasteries, they offered mental stimulation and distraction, while in noble courts, the game evolved into a fashionable pastime. By the 16th century, French aristocrats embraced it as a symbol of wit and refinement. Unlike dice or lotteries, it required calculation and strategy, elevating it above other games of chance. For nobles, it was not just gambling, but a demonstration of intellect. Ironically, what began as a pastime among monks and elites would later become one of the world's most controversial and widespread gambling games. In the 18th century, French colonists carried 21 to North America. The bustling port of New Orleans became its entry point, where gambling halls thrived in a blend of cultures: French, Spanish, Creole, and American. Yet the game struggled to attract American gamblers, who preferred poker and dice. To lure players, casinos introduced a special bonus. If a player's hand contained the jack of spades or clubs plus an ace of spades, they received a special payout. This Blackjack became so popular that it gave the entire game its modern name. By the 19th century, Blackjack spread along riverboats and frontier towns, cementing itself as a classic in American gambling. Its transformation from noble pastime to frontier entertainment reflected America's own restless energy, fast-moving, risky, and full of reinvention. The seeds of modern blackjack were firmly planted, waiting for the bright lights of Las Vegas. The mid-20th century turned blackjack into a casino icon. Las Vegas, rising from desert sands, embraced it as a symbol of sophistication. Unlike slots, blackjack offered a sense of strategy. Players believed they could outthink dealers, making it the serious gambler's game. In the 1940s and 1950s, celebrities, tourists, and businessmen flocked to Vegas tables. The green felt, rhythmic card slaps, and sharp-suited dealers created an irresistible spectacle. Blackjack's reputation as a fairer, more skillful game made it central to casino culture. But the glamour masked a darker reality. Organized crime was tightening its grip on Las Vegas, and blackjack tables were soon caught in a web of power and corruption. The stage was set for a battle between glitz, money, and the mob. By the 1940s, the Mafia controlled much of Las Vegas, and blackjack became a perfect tool for their empire. The game attracted high rollers and constant cash, making it ideal for laundering and skimming profits. Dealers were pressured, games were manipulated, and anyone winning too much risked serious consequences. Blackjack tables weren't just for entertainment. They were battlegrounds where mobsters flexed dominance and quietly moved fortunes. Skimming operations funded mafia power across the US, while glamorous casinos distracted the public. Law enforcement eventually cracked down in the 1970s and 1980s, exposing mob control and shifting ownership to corporations. Yet the legend of mafia-run blackjack endures, fueling films, myths, and pop culture. What started as a quiet pastime for monks had become one of organized crime's most profitable ventures. The 1960s introduced a new kind of enemy for casinos: mathematics. Edward O. Thorpe, a math professor, published Beat the Dealer, showing that card counting could give players a statistical edge. Suddenly, blackjack transformed from entertainment into a science. By tracking which cards had been dealt, skilled players could predict odds and adjust their bets. For the first time, gamblers had a real tool to challenge the house. This led to legendary stories, none more famous than the MIT Blackjack team. In the 1980s and 1990s, groups of students used disguises, signals, and sophisticated counting systems to win millions from casinos. Casinos fought back with countermeasures: multiple decks, continuous shufflers, and surveillance teams. Card counters were banned, blacklisted, or harassed. What ensued was a cat-and-mouse game between genius players and billion-dollar corporations. Card counting gave blackjack its mystique. The the one casino game where intelligence, not just luck, mattered. Even today, stories of the MIT team inspire books, documentaries, and films. Blackjack's allure has been magnified by Hollywood. Movies like Rain Man, Casino, and 21 portrayed it as a glamorous pursuit of genius gamblers. These films painted blackjack not just as a game, but as a symbol of rebellion, the underdog taking on the system. Celebrities too have been drawn to the tables. From Frank Sinatra to Ben Affleck, blackjack has maintained a star-studded legacy. Media coverage of big wins and scandals only added to the mystique. Pop culture reframed blackjack from a casino game to a cultural metaphor. Intelligence versus authority, risk versus reward. Through films and stories, it became more than gambling. It became a stage where human ambition, greed, and brilliance collide. Unlike slots, blackjack gives players a sense of control. Every hit, stand, or split feels like a strategic decision, even if the odds remain stacked in the casino's favor. This illusion of mastery is powerful, drawing players deeper into the game. Casinos amplify this psychology with table design, dealer speed, and subtle distractions. Time disappears at the felt, and the dopamine rush of a winning hand keeps players hooked. Even myths like card counting's accessibility lure casual players into believing they too can outsmart the system. In reality, most fail. Blackjack's psychology isn't just about math, it's about hope, illusion, and the eternal dream of beating the house. Today, blackjack thrives both in casinos and online. Digital platforms use algorithms and random number generators to simulate decks, sparking debates about fairness. Unlike physical tables, there are no dealers to read or shuffles to track. Still, online blackjack exploded in popularity. Apps, live dealer streams, and mobile platforms brought the game to millions worldwide. Some players see it as entertainment, others worry algorithms tilt the balance further toward the house. Yet after centuries of reinvention, blackjack remains resilient. From monks to Mafia, from Vegas to smartphones, it has survived and adapted, proving it's more than a game. It's a mirror of human ambition in every age. From monasteries to mafia empires, blackjack's journey is more than cards and numbers. It's a mirror of ambition, risk, and reinvention. Every hand tells a story centuries in the making. So, is blackjack just a game, or humanity's greatest gamble? Share your thoughts in the comments.